What is going on, guys? In today's video I will show you the new best Flicker Strike Monk build in Path of Exile 2 0.3 update. This build has been a fan favorite ever since it was first created, and even though the new changes brought in few adjustments, it still holds its spot as one of the most powerful setups in the game. In fact, it only got smoother with some of the changes in the 0.3, and the gear, passive tree and everything else has been updated. The concept of this build revolves around combining near 100% critical strike chance with explosive area of effect through the storm wave and the upwheel, all while amplifying damage with a Herald of the Ash and a Herald of the Thunder. What you get is absolutely devastating clear speed that rivals even the best ranged builds, but in the melee form. Then for bossing, the Flicker Strike becomes your weapon of choice, and enhanced further by the Infernal Cry for the burst damage. With this combination, even the pinnacle bosses on tier 4 maps can be one-tapped. The beauty of this build is that it avoids the classic inconsistency of the Flicker Strike while mapping, so instead we can rely on the more stable Storm of Wave for the clear and saving Flicker Strike for the moments that matter most, between energy shield recharge, instant flask recovery, and the chaos and damage over time immunity, and even multiple defensive mechanics layered on the top. Our sustain feels incredibly smooth, so in short you get everything you could possibly want: explosive clearing power, unmatched boss damage, consistent sustain, and a character that can survive the hardest content. And remember, if you want to track this build, look up the best items, the skill trees and path of building, then check my link in the description. And before we continue, thanks to U4GM. They are a pro website that provides POE2 services like cheap currency, then even to trade all types of quality items and gems and much more. They have also more than 20,000 positive comments on Trustpilot, and this website is really worth a try. So make sure to use my discount code KATE for extra 6% off. So let's start with the core of our build, which is the active skill setup. For general mapping, the Storm Wave combined with the Upwheel and the Pinpoint Critical will deliver the bulk of your AoV damage. This ensures that you're moving down the packs at a high speed while maintaining excellent clear radius. The key here is the synergy between the Storm Wave's natural training effect and the Upwheel's destructive coverage, by creating a near constant storm of the critical hits. Against bosses, the Flicker Strike will become the centerpiece. It's paired with the Infernal Cry, and when everything aligns, you're able to deal enough burst to delete even the tier 4 pinnacle bosses in just 1 or 2 hits. With the right timing, you can effectively one-tap these encounters without giving them a chance to retaliate. Generating charges is a critical aspect of this build, and it functions slightly differently depending on the content. In maps, the charge generation is automatic through the cast on critical and the profane ritual combo. You'll never have to worry about running out of charges mid-clear, and this also feeds into the sustaining your charge staff uptime for utility. Then for boss fights, the things get a little more involved. You'll need to prepare beforehand by swapping to your secondary weapon set, summoning skeletal warriors through your rattling scepter, and casting profane ritual on them to stockpile the charges. After reaching maximum stacks, usually 6 or 7, you will use the charge staff to top yourself off again right before initiating the fight. Then you can open with the Flicker Strike and watch the boss health bar disappear. For improving clear speed, the Herald of Ash and Herald of Thunder will add immense value. The Herald of Ash will cast overkill damage to ignite surrounding enemies, while the Herald of Thunder will chain bolts across the battlefield whenever you shotgun kill. Together, these will create a satisfying chain reaction that amplifies your natural damage and the speed. And to round this out, the Sacrifice skill is used for charge generation, while Profane Ritual synergizes with both the cast on crit and the boss preparation. A common question is also what you do if you don't have enough skill slots, and in that case, the first gem that you can drop is the cast on crit. You can always rely on the weapon swapping for the charge generation. Then sustain comes from the multiple angles, so energy shield recharges with only 1 or 2 second delay. Then we use instant flask recovery thanks to the special flasks modifiers, and then the natural healing loop provided by your charge mechanics. If you ever feel pressured, then kiting for a couple of seconds is often enough to recharge your shield back to full. Now let's talk about the passive tree, because this is what really transforms the build. Our setup is specifically made to push critical strikes as high as possible. Almost every notable related to the crit chance and the crit multiplier in our path is worth taking, and the build naturally invests heavily into them. You want to prioritize critical strike chance nodes over the damage nodes, if you're not capped yet, and consistency is more important than the big numbers in this case. Once your crit chance is secured, then multiplier nodes will become the key, by scaling your damage further. Then Jevels play a huge part here. You'll want multiple Jevels with critical strike chance as well as 2% mana recovery on the kill. Having 2 or 3 of these will solve mana issues entirely, while adding even more DPS. Then to push your critical strike chance towards 100%, rare Jevels with the bonus crit are mandatory. Mana management otherwise will come from running Clarity, rolling mana regeneration on at least one of your rings, and investing into the mana flask with a high charge cost, as these are really easy to spec into early on if needed. For defenses, the tree provides a solid base of energy shield and evasion. You'll be taking many of the small hybrid nodes and anointing your amulet with a graceful form, as it gives you a huge bump in survivability. The freeze and stun immunity are also addressed here. By investing into the element and the stun avoidance and combining them with the gear rolls, you'll avoid being locked down in a combat. And finally, don't neglect the charge nodes. Both frenzy and the power charges will boost the flat damage and extend the scaling of your abilities, so allocating both early can make your character feel significantly stronger. Then for Ascendancy, we go with Invoker, and the order of points is very straightforward. You want to begin with the Thunder My Enemies, to give your attacks added impact and consistency. Next, I Am the Thunder enhances your elemental damage output, and synergizes beautifully with the Herald of the Thunder. Then your third choice, Lead Me Through the Grace, will provide both the defensive layering and the smoother sustain. And finally, Unbound Avatar will cap off the build, by transforming the Flicker Strike and the Storm Wave setup into a truly unstoppable tool. This order ensures that you feel powerful early on, while steadily adding both survivability and damage scaling as you progress. Next up, the Atlas passive tree is where you shape your endgame farming strategy. This build thrives when you focus on consistency and density. In the 0.3 update, the central part of the tree will give access to some incredibly strong notables for the essences, harvest, the strong boxes, and delirium. You'll invest heavily into the middle and the lower sections, where the harvest and essences will provide reliable crafting opportunities and even guaranteed fights. On the right side, you will path toward the strong boxes and the Legion expeditions, for more monsters and the loot explosions. And then on top, we will invest into the bossing nodes that improve the Conqueror, Maven, and the Elder encounters. The idea here is not to spread you thin, instead you're clustering around the key synergies. For example, the strong boxes plus the essences will guarantee a consistent value, while Harvest offers a deterministic crafting options. Together, these systems will let you steadily generate profit without relying on RNG. Overall, this Atlas tree is designed for players who want a steady currency generation, with the option to tackle endgame bosses with a max efficiency. It's flexible enough to support farming strategies, while still making sure that you're always progressing. Next up we have gear, which is always a huge part of any build. Your weapon is the most important piece, so look for high physical damage combined with the elemental damage with the attacks. Suffixes should focus on increased melee gem levels, critical strike chance, and the multiplier. Ideally, your weapon should have at least 11% base crit chance to ensure that the tree investment will pay off. If you can afford the top tier option, then prioritize critical strike damage runes. On the weapon swap, you will need a Rattling Scepter, or equivalent to summon skeletons for the charge generation. This is crucial for the pinnacle bosses, so pair this with the support gems to lower the strength requirements and maximize the skeleton count. The chest armor should stack as much energy shield as possible. The more energy shield you have, the smoother your sustain loop becomes. The helmet should also prioritize the energy shield, ideally reaching somewhere around 350 to 400, while offering resistances and some critical chance. Gloves are damage focused, so attack speed, lightning or fire damage, and melee gem levels will all contribute massively. Then boots should provide at least 25% movement speed, resistances, and a solid amount of energy shield. Then amulets will roll critical chance, melee gem levels, and the energy shield. Anointing a graceful form here is mandatory. Rings are where you will solve the mana issues, so make sure to at least have one mana regeneration. Beyond that, stack the flat elemental damage, crit stats, and resistances. Use the catalyst to boost offensive stats. Belts are the best in slot when they provide instant life flask recovery with the energy shield. This combo makes your sustain nearly foolproof. For Jevels, you'll need at least 2 mana recovery on kill. After that, prioritize critical chance and the multipliers and even the energy shield. And now finally, let's see how to play this build. Well, the Flicker Strike Monk offers a unique mix of reliable clearing and explosive single target damage. Unlike many other Flicker Strike builds that feel random, this version is designed for control. In maps you'll primarily use the Storm Wave combined with the Upfeel and the Pinpoint Critical. This setup delivers a wide aerial coverage, while training critical strikes, allowing Herald of the Ash and Herald of Thunder to trigger constant explosions. The strategy here is to keep your distance, channel the Storm Wave and let the enemies melt, without needing to dive recklessly into the packs. This gives you both the safety and efficiency into the clearing. The Flicker Strike shines when it matters the most, so against bosses or dangerous rares. By pairing it with Infernal Cry if you want it, then you can unleash a devastating burst, which is capable of deleting high HP targets almost instantly. Thanks to the automated charge generation from the cast on critical and the profane ritual, you always have resources ready during the maps. Then for pinnacle bosses, you prepare in advance by swapping weapons, then summoning the skeletons with the sacrifice and consuming them with the profane ritual. With the full charges, a single Flicker Strike chain can wipe out even the tier 4 pinnacle bosses in just one shot. Then defensively, the build sustains itself through the rapid energy shield recharge and an instant flask recovery. Overall, this is the build for you if you like a playstyle that balances speed, consistency and overwhelming power.